Perspective is really reality, and you can look at it from whatever perspective or angle you want: spiritual, scientific, anecdotal, doesn't matter, religious. They all point to the same thing. It's raining right now, and I was like, man, it's so beautiful. I want to go walk again. I can't tell you the amount of times, in the years that I've been coaching people and had a gym, which has been almost 12 years, that I've heard, I didn't do my 10,000 steps because it was raining outside. And the contrast of where one person sees the rain, they're like, this is terrible, I'm not going to do X, Y, or Z. The other person is like, I actually want to go walk because it's raining. This is not to say, this is bad, this is good, because that's a thing also, as a side note, that I that I notice in the fitness industry and just in general, that we as humans, we do this thing and we have this thing of superiority, and that's not the way either. And if you genuinely observe that, like, that doesn't feel good either, to think you're superior to your fellow people, right? It's a much lower level of thinking, and because we are actually all one. Again, in whatever lens you want to view it, we are all one, and everything that exists is the same. There is no separation. There's plenty of spiritual and religious texts talking about these things, and now there's a lot of science talking about this. But anyways, the purpose of this video is to kind of share, like, can you break away from your opinion long enough to choose an opinion that you would prefer, right? I try to ask myself this all the time, and I work on this all day, every day. And in reality, it's not work, it's just living. It might be work at first to kind of break away from the automatic nature of living that we kind of live in, but I try to think about, because I notice, hey, all these, I'm gonna take a second here so the phone doesn't get wet, but I try to think about what things are that I am thinking or feeling that, number one, since everything is perspective, are they actually true? Number two, what would I actually prefer to think? Because I'm using, I'm thinking anyway, and I'm using my imagination to come up with X, Y, or Z anyway. Why not choose something that I would actually prefer, or that would feel more pleasant? Seagull got a nice snack up there. And so, whether it's, in business or creating content or relationships or the obligations that you think you have to family or culture or partners, are they actually true? Are these things that I think about in these different areas true? And this has stopped me many, many times over the years. And despite, I've made a lot of content, and I don't know, sometimes I'm like, wow, because I can look back and I'm like, man, my thoughts were so unhelpful. Like I was thinking, oh, nobody's looking at this, nobody's gonna watch this, is this even good? And somehow I put out a decent amount of content over the last 12 years. But what if I had this awareness that no, like whatever I make is great, whatever I make is fantastic, it's the best stuff. And objectively, like I have a very high level of achievement physically in myself and in my clients for a very long time. I have the track record, but I doubted myself and I thought, oh, I can't make this because it's not gonna work. What am I gonna do? So I didn't do a lot of stuff. And it all comes back to the perception that was in my own head. And so, take this idea and like, so to make it kind of practical, because at the end of the day, like, how do I take this into the real world? You're having this dialogue in your head about all the things that could go wrong, all these things that don't make you feel good. Kyle Cease has a great, practical video on this. Search for the exercise Kylego, K-Y-L-E-G-O. If I remember, I'll put it in the description. But you basically talk about, events as if they've already happened. And it seems weird at first, but until you realize, well, I'm already doing that. Like, I'm literally doing that all day. The reason I'm acting the way I'm acting is because I'm imagining things having gone an unpleasant way, right? And that's the default conversation that most people are having. So why not have this conversation where I'm like, that I would prefer? Maybe we'll get into another series on that idea and how you can literally create your business, your life, your body through this dialogue. But in the meantime, like, go search Kyle Cease. Does a great job of explaining these kinds of things. And I will see you guys in a bit. I'll go enjoy the rest of this walk.